something. We're on 10.1 though, to the very best of my knowledge, which is Cantway Moser House demolition, community development.
Morning, Council.
Yeah.
Morning. So I prepared a report today for the decision related to the demolition of the Cantway Moser home. I think this isn't kind of a surprise or anything new around the council table. Back in June, we had the public hearing and went through the process to remove the heritage designation on the property, and so that process has been completed, and that was filed with the land registry. And so that piece of this was required to be done before we moved forward with kind of future demolition decision. And so that's the purpose of today, is just to bring this report back to you and to have an official motion on the books to proceed with the demolition of the house. So I won't go through all the background, you're very familiar with this, but the background piece kind of runs through kind of how the municipality came to own the property, and the process that we've gone through up to including today, including the a big portion of that was working with the Social Heritage Preservation Society, because I know council was really interested in in seeing if there was a community use of that building and that space. And kind of went through that process, and was not successful, as we all know. In the Heritage Preservation Society, one of the recommendations was, due to their inability to proceed and do something with the house, is that the recommendation was due to that and the current condition, which is obviously further deteriorated. Their recommendation was for demolition as well. And just so council is aware, we have been experiencing a fair amount of break and enters in the property recently. Working with our CMP, but because of the condition of the property and its location, all those kind of things, it's really challenging to prevent that from happening. So we've taken a few steps to try and prevent that, but so there continues to be further damage to the house just from people as part of that break and enter as well. So anyway, the only other thing that I will mention is that back when we were going through the kind of budget deliberations, that we did have money put aside in the budget specifically for the demolition, if that was the decision of council. So that there are funds in the budget in this fiscal year to proceed with the demolition. We would do that through our heavy equipment contract if council chooses to go in that and continue in that direction.
Okay, well, I don't want to do it, but I don't think we have many options.
So Chad, is the demolition going to be with our, is it going to be tendered, or is that part of the, I see it here, the heavy equipment contract?
Yeah, so we have our heavy equipment contract that's already in place. We'll just schedule them to come in and to do the work. Yeah, Public Works will look after that.
To Andre first.
I don't think we have any interest in operating our raccoon sanctuary, so I'm going to move that we authorize the demolition of the structure for the budgeted amount of $12,000.
Second.
Discussion.
And I'll just add, even though the building is gone, we've certainly made a lot of improvements on that property. There's a lovely trail, and I hope, that's my district, and I'm hoping that we will add some more amenities, because it's very well used, and it depends on what the public want there. So the house isn't really one that we need, even, unfortunately. Probably the safest thing is to tear it down.
Yeah, and then the trails that we've had really fantastic comments from the public, and in terms of the trails, and people really are enjoying the trails that are there, and they kind of the spine trail that it isn't quite finished yet, but it's almost there, so that one will be finished hopefully this fiscal year. And we did use the property fairly heavily with our summer recreation program, so we had kids in there doing kind of back to nature type courses, and it was fantastic. It's an absolutely fantastic location for that type of program to happen. And so I think that you will see, as part of our kind of, when council's talking about their strategic priorities, and as we look at our open space planning, that further amenities or other things to contribute towards those program opportunities, whether that's a shelter or washroom facilities, or whatever that kind of may be. There's definitely some interest in going in that direction. So we would bring that back to council with that future direction maybe.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? reluctantly.
I have a question on another property that's on our list for demolition. And I assume it falls under the same small equipment contract and so on. And that's the property that was, I think, first brought to council maybe last December. Then there was a hazardous material kind of check, like no hazardous material, I mean. And that might have been spring or summer, I'm not sure. But all I would ask, unless there's a reason to change the order of demolition, that property, I was surprised. I was, obviously running around on the roads of New Ross in the last couple of weeks and saw that it was still up. I probably would have heard from the community if it was down. So that's been on our list for demolition. So unless there's a reason that with the decision today will kind of change the order of demolition, that I would hope would be probably our first one to demolish. The one that's been on the books for longer. Okay, good.
Yeah, so that has been, and I guess the delay with that particular demolition was related to the hazard assessments, that we couldn't move forward until that was completed, and so that is done now as well. So both of these buildings are set for demolition, and it's our Holbrook staff obviously work with our contractor to schedule that. So I can check and see I'm not sure if there's a set order already, but I can check in with the work staff.
Know that was on the list, for almost a year, and so that's what I'll report back to my community.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're on to 10.2. Consideration to rezone lands around Spectacle Lake and remove protected watershed zone. You get all the easy stuff,
Yeah. So we have a staff report here, essentially outlining the direction that was received to look at the protected watershed zone and whether that was still something that should be changed given the information that we've received from Public Works regarding the fact that it is not a viable municipal water source. There's been, over the last few years, there's been a number of applications or applicants that have inquired with council about amending this zone or removing it. Discussions council had rejected that, but did make note that it was something they intended to revisit in the future. And so that is where we are now with the motion made on June 27th this year. So as you probably all know, Spectacle Lake has long been identified as a potential water source for the municipality. It was never verified as a suitable water source. It was always just held there as a potential water source. And there is a difference there in terms of saying that it wasn't necessarily found to serve the needs. There was no, so this protected watershed zone has been in place since the early 1990s. It was done by planning staff at the time, and it generally reflects the watershed or the catchment area. There's no major rivers or streams that flow into Spectacle Lake, but obviously the drainage, the land does drain, and so that's a reflection of the zone that you see. And the zone currently covers about 1,110 acres of land extending north beyond Highway 3, as you can see in the map there. Like I said, more recent information from Public Works, there's an email attached at the back of this report, has confirmed that it is not and will not be a viable water source for a number of reasons. Some of the more significant ones have to do with the shallowness of the lake, the quantity of water that's there, and also concerns around blue-green algae and evaporation moving forward. So the determination from Public Works was that only 2,000 people, not households, could be served by the quantity of water, which I think, given the work that was done a number of years ago by CBCL and the potential water system, showed that for the cost, that likely wouldn't be viable. So if council does wish to proceed with changing the protected watershed zone. This will require amendments to the municipal planning strategy as well as the land use bylaw. The reason being that the general future land use map in the municipal planning strategy shows this area as being designated an environmental designation, which is what the protected watershed zone fits in. So, so just a map change essentially will be needed there. The final item that staff raised in the report was whether or not there was any desire to consider application of the lakeside zone when we remove the protected watershed zone. So,
Doesn't that apply to every?
no, we have a 20-meter setback from every lake, but the lakeside zone is what we created and implemented on Sherbrooke Lake around more significant controls, vegetated buffers, minimum lot sizes, that kind of thing. We also considered it around Sawler Lake, but council rejected it in that case. So the lakeside zone is an option. Essentially, if we did look at the lakeside zone, the staff recommendation was to have the mixed use zone apply. Currently, the protected watershed zone is surrounded by the mixed use zone, and then north of Highway 103 it borders the general basic zone. So the staff recommendation was to remove the protected watershed zone with the mixed use zone south of the highway and general basic north of the highway. But lakeside was an additional consideration that could have been, that could be considered. We brought the file, so we had our public information meeting as we normally do. We had a reasonable turnout to that. There, anecdotally, I didn't verify this, anecdotally there were members, property owners at that meeting. They were very clearly opposed to the lakeside zone. They were pleased to see that council was considering removing the protected watershed zone, but they were not at all in favor of additional restrictions. They preferred the mixed use.
20-meter setback would still apply.
Yeah, that applies to every lake.
It's all,
Yeah,
it's all.
that's right. So there was a lot of discussion at MPAC. There was quite a bit of doubt from several members as to the veracity or the truthfulness of the reports from Public Works. And that really put us, just to speak to that really put us in a difficult situation because as a planner, I'm not an engineer. I was taking that from professional engineers as truth and moving forward with that. So my intent was to discuss the land use changes. A couple of members couldn't get past that, and they wanted a hydrologist report or an additional professional engineer report. So the discussion may not have been as fulsome as it should have been because it really focused on whether or not those comments were accurate. Ultimately, the committee did not follow staff's recommendation and recommended that the lakeside zone be implemented at a depth of 300 meters, which is a significant change. If we go to the very, very last page, there's a map that shows what that would look like. Yeah, a little further, even further. Yeah, sorry, a couple maps. Yeah. Right there, yeah, that one. So what you can see here is the existing protected watershed zone, and then the lakeside zone. So if we were to implement the lakeside zone at 300 meters, this is what that would look like. So there would be properties that had never been zoned protected watershed that would now have additional restrictions put in place on them. But that is an option, and then presumably beyond the lakeside zone, it would still be mixed use and general basic. So that was what the MPAC recommended, that we move forward with the lakeside zone at 300 meters. So in terms of the options here, again, the original staff recommendation was to rezone with mixed use and general basic. The MPAC recommendation is for the lakeside zone at 300 meters with mixed use and general basic outside of that area. So, to answer any questions.
I'll just mention, I know that the PAC committee recommended that because I was sitting on it. And maybe they didn't see, the lines, the pink lines that you've drawn. There's no way that it can just entail the green space that's existing?
That wasn't the direction. The direction was 300 meters. So yes, we could, but that wasn't what the recommendation was.
Council could do the areas that are both green and purple hatch, right? And not go for the 3 full 100 meters. You could just do the areas.
Do the green areas that are green now.
Garth, can I just, you said general basic, you mean mixed use?
Mixed use south of the highway, general basic
Okay.
north of the highway. No, there is a portion that will be, so north of the highway right now, it's surrounded by general basic.
Okay.
And south of the highway, it's surrounded by mixed use. So presumably the most natural change, if we're just gonna take it out, would be
Yeah.
mixed use south and general basic north.
Yes, Andre. I think Andre is.
Yeah, I just, hopefully everybody's in favor of removing this protected watershed zone. It's a problem, and it makes no sense. But with respect to the draft lakeside zone, why? I would like to know what the rationale would be to put this in place. I can't figure out why we would do this to this lake. Nobody seems to want it. Can somebody please explain why we would do this?
I don't know that I can answer that question, but what I can say is historically, council has only applied the lakeside zone when a significant number of residents are in favor. We haven't formally asked, like I said, at the PIM, anecdotally, there were a number of property owners who did not want it, but we haven't formally reached out to the property owners. They typically also, if we were going to look at the lakeside zone, staff would do an analysis to determine what the appropriate depth might be, and that hasn't been done in this case either. It was just arbitrarily chosen based on Sherwood Lake.
Okay, Tina?
Well, I was actually gonna look to the 2 members of impact that are here. So Garth, you were there as well, so maybe the other 2 members that were there, they could answer that question as well, so.
Well, I think the committee were just concerned about development around the lake, and it would be protecting it if it was a 300-meter buffer. I don't know if they actually saw the,
No, we didn't have this
we
map.
didn't
Yeah,
have this, so maybe
seen
they
this
might have
map
thought
before.
differently.
And I would have too if I'd have saw this map.
Because
This is quite a big area.
it extends past the green space, so
Yeah.
I don't think they saw the map with this
Yeah.
on quite,
So
you know,
somebody-
fairly.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So they were just concerned with
Sure.
protection of the lake and.
What do you want to do?
I want to move that we zone this to mixed use and general basic on the other side of 103 as it's proposed, and
Other than the 20, it's setback, which
Yeah,
is.
and that applies
That applies,
regardless.
yeah.
All-
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So it's option one.
Yeah,
So you moved it, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Discussion on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's
so
carried.
what's our next steps?
Yeah, so this was essentially first reading, so the next step would be a public hearing. The earliest date that we could have that public hearing would be October 10th, but I don't know if council would prefer to delay it until after the election or.
No, let's do it. We
October 10th?
gotta do our jobs while we're
Should
still
we,
here.
oh, well, so that's, I guess, a question, do we want to do it at
Do you want to do it in the morning before council?
Yeah, because I don't think we're going to have any on, what
is
is
the
it?
10th?
Well, I think the landowners would turn out.
Well, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll schedule.
Okay, so the morning of October 10th.
Yes, please, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's quite a stereo.
Okay. 11.1,
Thanks, Garth.
Central Housing Coalition
Yeah, this is, council, this is just a letter from the Central
Oh.
Housing Action Coalition. They recently came and spoke to council and gave a presentation around non-market housing options in our community. So this is a thank you letter and encouraging us to continue with efforts to learn about housing needs. So no action necessary.
Okay, so on to 12.1, request for decision. A development agreement for request, community development recreation, the lodge project.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Whatever.
Very late on doing this one. Okay, so staff received an application for a development agreement for the construction of one building, including 53 residential dwelling units and 2 commercial units. It's proposed it's currently 4 parcels of land. They will have to be consolidated. However, it's on the Lodge Road in Hubbards. That's within the general basic zone, which permits development of 12 or more dwelling units on a single lot by DA. So the lots are proposed to be serviced by some new technology for sewer and water. And some of those details are in the package that came with the application. Those will all be reviewed during the process. Like I said, there is an existing structure on site right now, and that also crosses all 4 property boundaries, but that will obviously be removed for the new proposed structure.
Yeah, the old one doesn't look like this.
Not at all.
That's right. So in this little booklet, the applicant describes the project as the most eco-friendly and state-of-the-art construction, comprising 100% steel and is estimated to boast a 1,000-year shelf life. It's a pretty fast construction. It's definitely some new technology. And they're also aiming to give an affordable housing price combined with the low costs of heating and cooling. And they're considering these to be passive homes. Their intention right now is for them to be condos, so for purchase. The application we got included site plan and floor plan, some exterior and interior renderings like you see, a report detailing sort of the innovative water and sewage systems. And again, this will all be reviewed in detail, and if anything else is required as we assess it against the municipal planning strategy, we will certainly request that from the applicant. So if council proceeds with option 1 to direct staff to proceed with the public information meeting and draft a staff report and the draft development agreement, we'll review all of it against the municipal planning strategy.
Okay, this is a question.
Has the local fire department,
So nothing, we haven't got that far yet. That will be part of,
that will be part of,
absolutely, yep.
So council, our process right now for development agreement applications is to bring the request forward to council before you refer it to PAC. That's something we may want to look at in the future, is do we bother, because there's really no ability for council to say no at this point until you do the review. So we'll probably be coming back with a staff report on when we bring stuff to council.
Yeah.
But for now, the practice is that we bring the application forward for referral to the PAC. So that's what this is.
I'll make a motion to refer to
Second,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Looks like a
Different building.
It's development, yeah.
It's typhoon proof. It says typhoon proof and,
Greatest building ever built in North America.
yeah, nice.
I'd like to, Mr. Warden, when we go through this process, really see what they're suggesting for water.
salt water.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe a solution for Chester.
The developers here, he would be prepared to address that if you want.
Reverse osmosis salt water.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so we're actually using seawater, so it closes the loop, so.
Yeah, I know, I want to know more about it. Can we put it in Chester?
Yes, you can. So one of our proposals. It is, so you can actually take the seawater, turn gray water if you still, and we have a wastewater treatment system involved, so we're completely off the grid, so we don't interfere with any infrastructure, any of the sewage. So I mean, we use static charge with a organic compound and ultraviolet rays. So, and then the solids from the waste actually is turned into high-grade fuel or high-grade fertilizer. And then water goes back into the ocean, back into the cycle.
Where is this technology being used now?
It's using hog farms right now. So one of my partners, but it's already been tested on human waste. But originally the technology, Nick and his father are engineers, so they have a couple patents pending. So they use this in Manitoba and Ohio in massive hog farms. The lagoons that are beside the barn, which are full of waste, they actually, by the time it comes on the other side, you can drink it. So
It's drinking water.
you can use that as drinking water. Wow. And high-grade fertilizer they use in the field.
But you can use, like you said, salt
Salt water, so you pump it out of the sea. So we can put, right now we're only using, the only need is why we ended up like going back to, using the technology that they're using the hog farm, because we went with the options. We used Anglo civil engineering. He came back with 5. He said 1 might work. So, and it took up basically a football field for the tanks, the holding tanks. So we're like, well, we don't have the luxury of a lot of land. So we are implementing our own technologies that we used before. And then as far as, we're wondering, it's going to be $15,000 to find out if we have water available there. Well, right, we decided that, why not just use the seawater? We have an abundance amount of it there. And there's lots of technology that,
So it's like a desalinization plant on a cruise ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they use seawater, obviously.
Yeah, there's lots of solutions out there, they need to be applied to residential development. And this building, the structure that we're using is 3 of the 5 stories will be completely off the grid.
You asked a question, the lawyer wants to ask a question.
Where the energy, this might be all pretty energy intensive to do all this.
Pardon me?
I said this sounds very energy intensive.
No, so 3 of the 5 stories in this building are completely off the grid.
But where are you getting the power?
It's solar. The entire roof is solar, the railings are solar, and the next generation of this building will be completely off the grid. So a 3-bedroom, 1,800 square foot unit will cost you for heat, hot water, air conditioning, and electricity about $40 a month.
Oh, cool.
So, and it's 100% recycled stainless steel. So, so what they do is at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, they blend in copper. So the stainless steel is 100 times less corrosive than regular stainless steel, and it's 60 times stronger. So you can walk out 60 feet without a cantilever on this. And then the interior is, even the trim is 100-year shelf life. So it's essentially they use bamboo from Australia, and then the plumbing is stainless steel with rubber fittings that has 200-year shelf life. And the air quality in this building will be 100 times cleaner than the air outside. There's no dust, no pollen, no cross-contamination. So for retirement, people that sleep in there, the oxygen levels are higher. They feel better when they wake up. And they never have to paint or dust. There's no dust or pollen.
Is there anything else in Nova Scotia that's built to this?
Nothing. It's all, so right now, this project, so we have the licensing agreement, myself and my partner, Colin Sutherland, who was with Gammon Lake Global, so he's taken a bunch of companies public, and we went out and outsourced to try to find the solution for the housing crisis. And for 2 years, we tried to find a better solution than this, and this is it. They put a building up, they put 50 stories, 200 units in 1 day.
It sounds too good to be true.
It does, but guess
It
what?
really does.
Yeah, it's the way that we build is archaic. This is the future, right? We can take 1,000 people off the streets in less than 6 months. 1,000 families.
When do you intend to start?
As soon as you guys approve it.
Oh, okay.
So is there battery banks somewhere?
There's battery banks, yeah. So the technology, we can go through all, I'm on the business side of it, so I mean, you can ask me all the technical questions.
I think it's interesting.
It's amazing, yeah.
Absolutely.
If you go on, so these guys started as an air filtration system. They're world leaders. LAX, Chicago O'Hara, Madrid, Melbourne, all the airports use their air filtration systems. They're 80% return heat recovery. It's 100% fresh air. It's 100% cleaner than the air outside. So hopefully it's the future. So we met with the Premier on the affordable side. So we're going to make this affordable for people who want to stay in the community. Because right now, as Chester Village, nobody can afford to live there, right? You're lucky if you're fortunate if you're left a house or whatever. But for the people that are in this area, this would be an affordable option. It would be 20% less than the average price of a condo in the province of Nova Scotia.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, so it's going to be good for
And it's fat, like you can put this building up that fast.
fast. We're going to take 2 weeks just because we're learning. So we're going to teach, we're going to have a crew from local workers here. You need a plumber, an electrician, which each team of 5 people, and a crane operator. And we'll do around the clock. So we'll probably not go around the clock. But if you're tying up, if you look at Spring Garden Road in Halifax, there's buildings and projects that have been going on for 2 years. They've cut off all traffic to the businesses in that area, and they're suffering. We would literally be in and out in a couple of days.
You don't want to cut off the traffic to the lodge, though.
We won't be cutting off any. There's a lot going on there. But we'll probably increase the coffers here for up to $500,000 a year, and we'll pump probably $2.5 to $3 million into the economy.
I like the idea about the salt water, like Derek said.
Right?
Man, that might be the answer for the village.
Yes. Yeah.
And you guys are the guinea
worth
pigs.
exploring.
We're going to prototype it on this one. It's already been tested on the hog farm. It's just, it's pretty toxic water. Like there's lagoons are a problem with these hog farms, right?
Yeah.
So by the time it comes through, it's using static charge and ultraviolet rays and organic compound. Yucca is what they use, which is for
Solutions for the village.
That's right.
I love it when the municipality is providing leadership and in new technologies and things, that's always.
Yeah, this will be the jumping or the starting block of something that'll help fix the housing crisis in not just Nova Scotia, but in Canada and North America. This will be the first one built in North America. It's already passed. The ICI is doing all the inspections. So this project, they're doing the final inspection on, so they want to use this one. So globally, Broadholme is the company they want to make sure this goes off well, because it's going to be a model over everything for North America.
Basically, be a model.
We have a ton of builders right now that are waiting 2 to 3 years to even get their building, started, and they're servicing, $1 million, $2 million debt with no revenue coming in, so this solves that problem.
You may get some rough weather along there, so.
Yeah, there's a big seawall there, and these things are built to last. They're built to withstand an 8.0 magnitude earthquake and typhoon-style winds.
Well, it'll handle that.
Yeah, so it'll take a beating, but it'll handle it.
Can't wait to go on tour, see what's going on.
One pier there every morning, so for people that are looking to retire, that are empty nesters, this is the way to stay in the community. There you go, and the air quality inside, you're gonna live a better, healthier life.
No, you're using a lot of pretty unique technology.
Are they rentals or are they purchased?
They're condos, so we're purchased.
How much are they gonna be?
Right now, don't quote me on this, but we're trying, the one bedroom, we want under 300,000, so we're on 280.
From where it is.
8 minutes to Bayswater, 8 minutes to Bayswater, 12 minutes to Queensland, 17 minutes to Chester Golf Course.
That is the condo fees.
But the condo fees will be basically nothing, it's a 1,000-year shelf life, right? And it runs off solar. So the condo fees will be probably $100 a month. Because it's literally, it's supposed to last 1,000 years, the building, so you're not gonna have to, you have to replace windows eventually, but the condo fees will be fairly cheap, a lot cheaper than regular
I
construction.
have to reconsider my retirement from Berwick.
Yeah, we did. We had to discuss,
Yeah, no, I can't allow a public conversation, I'm sorry.
yeah, we had this discussion about 7 years ago with another company, so I'm hoping it turns out better.
Yeah.
When
I
you hear
hope so
things,
too.
when you hear things that it
Sounds like snake oil, doesn't it?
that is, no, we've been down this road.
Yeah, so we've done our research, I wouldn't be doing it if it
Yeah,
was.
I hope so, yeah, it sounds good.
The plans are fantastic, and thank you for choosing District 2.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business out there that are struggling, that need people out there.
No, good.
We want to help the homeless, not the jobless, right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let me say,
That's what I need to ask you.
We know they but I mean, let's see all this stuff.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
so we're ready to go in camera. Does anybody need the washroom break? Okay, we'll take 10